Ginny and Georgia, Season 3 recap. Today we're recapping Ginny and Georgia Season 3 Netflix's. Ginny and Georgia is back for an explosive third season, picking up right where we left off, with Georgia being arrested on her wedding day. Just when Georgia thought she had finally secured a stable life for her family, the dark secrets from her past catch up to her. Right after exchanging vows with Mayor Paul Randolph, the police storm in and take her away in handcuffs, charging her with the murder of Tom Fuller. The whole town of Wellsbury is stunned, and once again Georgia's carefully crafted life starts to unravel. For Ginny, this is another devastating blow. After everything she's been through, the self-harm, the complicated relationships, the burden of being her mother's daughter, watching Georgia be arrested feels like the final straw. But what makes it worse is that her younger brother Austin saw the whole thing happen. And not just the arrest. Austin saw Georgia kill Tom with his own eyes. He was hiding in the closet when it happened. Georgia suffocated Tom to death, thinking she was putting him out of his misery since Tom was in a coma, and Cynthia, his wife, was emotionally drowning. It wasn't just a crime. In Georgia's mind, it was a mercy. But that doesn't make it any easier for Austin to process. He's traumatized, confused, and starts blaming himself for what happened. With Georgia now behind bars, the family's survival becomes the priority. Paul steps up, trying to hold things together as the newly married but not really honeymooning husband. He hires a skilled defense lawyer, Josh Finn, to handle Georgia's case. And Georgia, being who she is, calculating, charming, always thinking 10 steps ahead, starts doing her own research into the judge overseeing her case. Georgia isn't just going to sit back and let the courts decide her fate. She's determined to get out of this. She manipulates the situation, learns everything she can about the judge, and subtly uses her charm to secure bail. She gets released, but there's a catch. She's under house arrest with an ankle monitor that forces her to stay home and recharge it daily. It's like a metaphor for her whole life, constantly trying to break free but always being pulled back by the weight of her own choices. As Georgia deals with her legal nightmare, Ginny's got a secret of her own, and it's a big one. After hooking up with Wolf, her new love interest, Ginny finds out she's pregnant. The discovery happens when her friend Nora thinks she might be pregnant, so they all take tests together. It's not Nora, it's Ginny who's staring at that little plus sign. And suddenly, Ginny is carrying a weight that feels impossible. She doesn't know how to tell anyone, least of all her mother, who's already fighting for her freedom. And with Child Protective Services keeping an eye on their home because of Georgia's legal trouble, this news could tear their already fragile family apart. Eventually, Ginny finds a way to tell her mom, and this leads to one of the most intense emotional conversations of the whole season. Georgia reacts with anger, panic, and heartbreak, not because she's disappointed in Ginny, but because the situation brings up all the trauma of her own life. Georgia was a teenage mom too. She knows how hard it was. She knows the sacrifices, the shame, the poverty, and the endless cycle of survival. And while Georgia has spent most of her life manipulating everyone around her, in this moment with Ginny, she's brutally honest. She tells her exactly how hard it is to be a teen mom, not in a judgmental way, but as someone who's lived it. But despite everything, Georgia doesn't force Ginny to make any particular choice. She makes it clear that this decision is Ginny's alone, and Ginny chooses differently from her mother. After a lot of thought, Ginny decides to have an abortion. It's not an easy decision, but it's one she makes because she refuses to keep repeating the cycle. She loves her mom, but she doesn't want her life to follow the same painful pattern. Georgia had no choice when she got pregnant at 15. Ginny does. And she chooses to take control of her future, even if it breaks her heart to do so. It's one of the most powerful moments of growth we've seen from Ginny in the entire series. Meanwhile, Georgia's murder trial starts gaining attention, and things get ugly fast. Gabriel Cordova, the relentless private investigator who's been digging into Georgia's past for seasons now, takes the stand and exposes everything. Georgia's aliases, her history of fraud, and the string of suspicious deaths that seem to follow her wherever she goes. The courtroom paints Georgia as a cold-blooded killer, not a struggling mom trying to protect her family. Georgia is publicly branded as a monster, a serial killer hiding behind a pretty smile. Feeling cornered, Georgia makes one last desperate move. She tries to claim that she's pregnant, hoping that by tying herself more closely to Paul, she can salvage the pieces of her shattered reputation and maybe earn some sympathy in court. But Paul's no fool. He sees right through it. After confronting Zion, Ginny's father, and putting the puzzle together, Paul realizes Georgia is lying about being pregnant. And in that moment, Paul emotionally steps away from Georgia. Whatever love he had left for her can't withstand all the layers of manipulation. Their marriage may be legal, but the emotional bond is broken. But not everyone walks away from Georgia. There's still Joe, the kind-hearted cafe owner, who's been hovering around Georgia's life like a safe harbor she refuses to dock in. For once, Georgia is honest with Joe. She confesses her crimes, lays bare all the ugliness she's hidden, and tells him she's tired of lying. With Joe, it's not about schemes or manipulation. It's about wanting someone to see her fully and love her anyway. And then, in true Georgia fashion, life throws one last curveball. There's a strong hint that she might actually be pregnant for real this time. Whether that's true or not is left hanging at the season's end. As all of this unfolds, Ginny's romantic life is spiraling too. Her relationship with Wolf is falling apart. When Ginny finally tells him about the pregnancy, his reaction is exactly what you don't want to hear. Awkward, clumsy, detached. He doesn't know what to say or do. Later, he tries to make up for it by showing up to support her at a poetry event. But by that point, Ginny's already emotionally checked out of that relationship. Wolf might have been a distraction, but he was never going to be the emotional partner Ginny needed. That emotional partner has always been Marcus. Through everything, Marcus has been the one person who really sees Ginny. Their connection is deep, complicated, messy, but real. And while Marcus has always been Ginny's safe place, Marcus himself is falling apart. His depression spirals out of control. His drinking gets worse, and eventually he reaches rock bottom. One of the most heartbreaking scenes is when Ginny finds him passed out, drunk, incoherent, and utterly lost. He's failed his school year, he's broken inside, and yet when she reads him the poem she wrote for him, you can tell that somewhere under the wreckage, there's still love there. Marcus eventually agrees to go to rehab, leaving things between him and Ginny unfinished. They don't officially get back together, but you know it's not over. There's still a thread of hope between them, messy and frayed as it may be. By the time the credits roll on Season 3, nothing is neatly wrapped up. Georgia's fate in court is still uncertain. The fake pregnancy might actually be real. Ginny's chosen to break the generational cycle, but she's still figuring out who she is without all the chaos around her. And Marcus is on his own road to recovery, leaving us wondering what will happen when, or if, he returns to Wellsbury. Ginny and Georgia's relationship is stronger but still scarred. This show has always been about more than just scandal and romance. It's about survival, about the long shadows our parents cast over us, and about the choices we make to either repeat the past or finally break free from it. And if Season 3 has taught us anything, it's that both Georgia and Ginny are fighting like hell to finally break free. If you thought this season was intense, you already know Season 4 is going to take it even further. If you liked this recap, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Jaheheb for more. Until next time.